I wish someone taught me this a lot sooner, because something as tiny as $3 a day can grow to over $1 million in a child's lifetime. If you like simplicity, a one-time contribution can compound to over $500,000. Unfortunately, I didn't get that head start. I started with $25,000 as student loan, making $36,000 as an engineer in Canada, living in the most expensive city in Canada, feeling like I could never get ahead. When my twins were born, I made myself a promise. They will not start life the way I did. And I'm so excited to show you the 3 smartest Canadian accounts that you can open to turn something as small as $3 a day into over $1 million into real generational wealth. At the end, I'm going to math it up and you can do it for yourself. I'm going to share a dashboard that you can use for free. If you are a parent, an aunt or uncle or grandparent, or simply someone who loves a child, this video is for you. Let's start with the smallest number, $3 a day. Sounds tiny, but it's really $90 a month. And that can turn into a significant amount for your child. If you open an RESP, which is the Education Savings Plan, the government gives you grants. If you plop it into a long-term growth portfolio, that can compound to over $1 million. And it could also be tax-free once your child turns 18. Let me show you how. The first strategy is opening an RESP. This is the account every parent should open. Why? Because the government gives you free money in the form of a grant. They'll give you up to 20%, maximum $2,500 a contribution that you make. They'll match it up 20%, which is $500 a year. If you put in $90 a month, $3 a day, that's $1,080 a year, which becomes $1,296 after the grant. Who doesn't like free money from the government? And speaking of free, I want to say thank you to Moomoo, which is today's sponsor. If you deposit $100 into Moomoo, you get $50 cash back. That's 50% return on investment. Moomoo is a discount brokerage in Canada, the best for buying US stocks, the best for converting Canadian dollars to US dollars because they offer low to $0 of foreign exchange fees. So if you deposit $10,000, you save over $150. No other platform does this. Again, you have $100, deposit into the Moomoo app and get 50% return on investment cash back. Click on the link below. So let's get back with the video. The second strategy, you must open an informal trust if you can afford to. Once your RSP is funded for that year, the next step is you can deposit money into an informal trust, secret weapon that most Canadians do not know about. And I'll share exactly why this is a super powerful strategy with my playbook later on in the video. Plus the dashboard you can check out because seeing is believing. The capital gains in an informal trust is tax-free. Now, why is this powerful? The capital gains is taxed in the child's hand, not yours, the child. So that means if a kid typically has low income, which is highly likely, then the taxes are 0. But here's the mistake most Canadians make when opening a formal trust. If you invest into stocks that provide you a dividend, like dividend ETFs, unfortunately, those will get taxed to the parents, not to the child. So you got to be careful when investing inside an informal trust. So the way I've done it, I've opened an informal trust. I've decided to buy companies that grow, make a lot of dough, which are growth stocks. I've also invested into the index funds, the plain vanilla, boring, like the S&P 500, tracks 500 of the biggest companies because they grow on average 8% a year for the very, very long term. We're talking about ticker symbols, VFE, VOO, ZSP. All those are index funds. And they have little to no dividends in these index funds. So I'm okay if I get a few dollars, essentially, that gets taxed in my hand for holding onto these companies until my child turns 18, which leads me to the most powerful account in Canada, the TFSA. When your child turns 18, the tax-free savings account is the best account you can open up. Here's the playbook. Step 1, you open the tax-free savings account at 18 years old. You sell some of your shares within your informal trust. It will get taxed at your child's hand. Step 2, you take that money and you transfer it to your kid as a gift because gifts are tax-free in Canada. Step 3, you open a TFSA and you transfer to the maximum of the contribute limit depending on that year. Step 4, you tell your child to start investing at 18 years old, or you invest on their behalf and buy boring plain vanilla index funds like the S&P 500, or buy whatever companies you believe in that makes money and will continue to make money for the long term. If your child does not touch it, it could compound to over $1 million. Here's a much simpler playbook. This is a plain vanilla, boring, one-time lump sum. I love it because of the simplicity, and it takes a lot less money. If you have $6,000 or you can accumulate $6,000, you invest it once into an informal trust, into a boring index fund. I like tracking the S&P 500, and at an average of 8% return over the very, very long term, by 18, that $6,000 compounds its way into $24,000. At 18, you sell those shares in the informal trust, you transfer it to the tax-free savings account, and it continues to compound to over $500,000 by the time the child turns 60 years old. And remember, you only invested $6,000 in the beginning once. Now let's plug it into this calculator that I created for all of you. With $3 a day, that's $90 a month. By 18, that's $50,000. You could move it into tax-free savings account. That's over $1 million by 60 years old. I could do the lump sum method. By 18, that's $24,000 only if you invest it in, and then you transfer into TFSA, and that could compound to over $500,000. And then when you do the combination of both, it becomes so much more powerful. You can see that grows into $1.6 million only if you invest consistently every single year into something boring like I have, into the S&P 500. Now I understand not every family can afford all three accounts. So I want to give you a decision-making framework. If you only could do one thing, start with the RESP, because the government will give you free money as long as you contribute up to $2,500 a year. They'll match you with 20%. But you save a little bit more because the aunts and the uncles have given your child extra money. Open an informal trust and invest it consistently. Once your child turns 18, focus on opening up a tax-free savings account, must have, so that you can continue to compound that wealth for your child and leave a legacy. And if you want simplicity, the $6,000 lump sum can do wonders if you had that type of money really early on for your child. I know exactly what it feels like to go into adulthood feeling so behind, having a ton of debt, and getting crushed by the housing prices. While I watch my friends who didn't have debt get so much more ahead at such a young age, I don't want that for my twins, and I definitely don't want that for your kids either. And that's why I made this video. If you want more of this about generational wealth and strategies, comment below. Legacy. Hope to see you on the other side. Thank you. Thank you to Moomoo for sponsoring today's video. Moomoo is a low commission trading app in Canada. If you love free and free money, then if you deposit $100, you can get $50 of cash and vouchers. If you deposit $5,000, you get $300 cash back. That's equivalent to 6% return on investment. To learn more about Moomoo, check out in the links below.